The Losers Lounge. Welcome back for another edition. I got my guy Sim in the building. We're gonna talk about this win. Well, we're gonna hear what the Cleveland fans got to say about this loss they just took.
Yeah, no
Oh,
doubt about it, man. They took a loss tonight to the New York Knicks, and I'm pretty sure their fans. Well, see, last time we did the Losers Lounge, we were playing against a team that who was it? Houston? I don't remember. Oh, well, yeah, we didn't get to do Miami, so it was like Houston, and nobody
yep.
cares about Houston. You know what I mean? Um, but it's a fire in this one, especially since we're probably going to play these guys in the first round of the playoffs. So there's some fire behind this one right here, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and start looking at a couple of these. What people have to say and how they're feeling. All right. So yeah, let me get let me switch this up before we add it up here. Let me get the right thing up here so we make sure that we're good. All right. So let's
There you go.
yeah, let's do it.
Buck. I'm not gonna say his at name, but Buck. He says not worried about the Knicks. They won't be able to go all out like for a whole series. Cavs in six.
All
Oh,
right. I mean, I dig what he's saying. He's not worried about the Knicks, right? We won't be able to go out like that for an entire series, like, play that hard for the entire series. But guess what, Buck? The Knicks been playing like that for the entire season. That's just the way that the Knicks play. So, you know, Buck, you could think what you want, Buck, but that's just the way that the Knicks play. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way
yeah,
the Knicks play. That's who they are.
and he should have said maybe not worried about Brunson because maybe Brunson don't have that type of game all series. But like you said, all year long, it's been next man up mentality for us. So
Right.
what I mean, people step up in the absence of others. People step up in the maybe not the physical absence, but when guys are having a bad game, and other guys step up. So be prepared. I'm gonna say Knicks in six. How about that, Buck?
Yeah, I'm not even ready to jump out the window and say all of that yet because, I still remember what happened back against Atlanta. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
I'm just still a little bit weary, still a little bit weary. But Jay said, just the fact of him saying he's not worried about the Knicks shows that he's worried about the Knicks. That's exactly right. That's exactly what you say. If you actually worry, you say you're not worried.
Yeah, who he's trying to convince, us or him himself?
Exactly. You know what I mean? Exactly. Who's he trying to convince? You know what I mean? All right, let's see who we got. Let's see who we got up here next.
Cool. At land 23 says Cavs will get the last laugh. Good night. Peace.
Right. So you already know what he's talking about, right? He's talking about
Yeah,
the
confident. Another confident one.
playoffs. I mean, no one's saying the Cavs are a good team. We all know that. The Cavs are a good basketball team. Um, I feel like the Knicks have a good match. They match up well versus the Cavs. Very well against the Cavs. I think the Knicks do. So it's not going to be easy. It's not like we're just going to go in there and wipe them up. I think that all of the players are aware of and remember what happened the last time. They went into a series playing against a team that they had beaten several times or whatever it is. So I think the Knicks get it. The players get it. You know what I mean? So it's not going to be like I'm not going to say that they're straight out. No, boom, they're going to win the series, but it's not going to be a 4-1 series, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Nah,
So
I agree. Well, we laughing now. That's why you on the losers lounge, so we could get a nice chuckle, and we'll see who's laughing, after that first round.
right, we'll see who actually gets the last laugh. I tell you what, I don't want the Knicks to allow Donovan Mitchell to get off the way he got off tonight. You know what I mean? And of course, they don't want to let Jalen Brunson get off
Mhm.
the way Brunson got off tonight. You know, um,
And
Knicks
I
get-
mean, Mitchell has the most playoff experience, but other than his multiple years in the playoffs, I don't think that team is playoff tested either. You know what I mean? So
that's true.
you got to they should tamper some of that confidence. You sound like us 2 years ago.
That
Just saying.
that is true though. That is true. You know, that's definitely true.
Harry, he says, I really thought we'd show out tonight without Randall, and he mad.
And he's mad. You know what though? I think, yeah, I think they all figured. I don't think this is what happens like around the league. People don't know. Like they hear about Randall, they hear about Brunson, and they know them two guys to be the stars of the team, but they don't know what else the Knicks have and who else the Knicks have. And then, you know what I mean? They might hear about a couple of games where Brunson goes off, but they don't know how good he really is. Just like we don't know how good all of their players really are. And every time we play a team, we're like, oh, dang, I didn't know this dude was that nice.
Who
You know what
was they
I'm saying?
backup? They backup big tonight.
Let me see. I think off the bench, they had Seti Osman off the bench. Remember, Kevin Love was in Miami.
It was a big that was shooting threes. I think he was a big.
I don't know who they had. Uh, Was it Seti Osman?
I don't think it was Osman. I know Osman. I didn't recognize this guy's name. Um,
Let me look it up right now. Tell you who it was. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, they had Seti Osman come off the bench. He played 20 minutes. Ricky Rubio, Dean Wade played 12 minutes. Robin Lopez played 6 minutes. And Raul Nato played 9 minutes. And
it might,
Nato only shot 1 3.
mm,
So it was Seti
maybe it
Osman.
was Osman.
It
Maybe
was
it was
Osman.
Osman.
He was 4 for 8 from the 3-point line tonight.
Okay, so yeah, it was Osman.
Yeah. Yep. And Robin Lopez, man, look, Robin Lopez be looking crazy out there still. I mean, for some reason, he looks crazier now than when he played for the Knicks.
Sideshow Bob.
You know what I'm saying? That man be looking wild out there sometimes. You know, Rob
Wade. Somebody saying Wade. Is Wade a big?
is Wade a big? Nah, I mean, Wade is. I mean, he wasn't shooting threes. He was 1 for 3 tonight. He's 6'9", though. So
Mm,
I guess you could consider him a big, pretty sure, you know.
all
But
right.
I think you probably talk about Osman.
Thomas. The
Here
Knicks
we
swept
go.
the Hawks in the season series and got killed in the playoffs. Y'all casual for real.
See, and there you go. Some Knicks some Cavs fans remember, and I mean, I agree with them though. We swept the Hawks in the season series, and then got killed in the playoffs. But let's not leave out the fact Mitchell Robinson didn't play in those playoffs,
Hmm.
right? And the Knicks didn't have a guard like Jalen Brunson in those playoffs. The Knicks had Alfred Payton. As much as I supported Alfred Payton back then, you know what I mean? The Knicks had Alfred Payton at the point guard spot, who he could get to the basket, but he couldn't finish for nothing. And he couldn't shoot a jump shot for nothing. You know what I mean? So this is a very, very different team than that team back then.
And my bad, Sim. I think Almighty Finesse got it right here. I think it was Lamar Stevens. I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
know.
he started tonight, though.
Okay,
He was a starter. Yeah.
but that was in the absence. So that's what I meant. Like guys stepping up, and you know what I mean. Like he started in at center.
He
And
started Evan Mobley started at center.
okay,
Lamar Stevens started at power forward spot.
so that's probably who I was referring to. Um, because he normally wouldn't be starting. He started because what's the name's out, right?
He started because Jared Allen is out. So normally Evan Mobley would be
Is
at
at the 4.
power
Yep.
forward and Jared Allen would be at the center spot.
Yeah. Um, But
That,
yeah, I don't think we. It's the same thing. You know what I mean? The
mm,
Knicks were coming into that series with no playoff experience, not knowing what to expect. That was new to all of them. I believe we might have had one guy who had limited playoff experience. Taj, right? Taj
right.
and Rose were the two that
Right.
had the playoff experience. Other than that, none of our guys had that. I don't think we're looking at the Cavs as less of a threat than like the Hawks. You know what I mean? A lot of times, a lot of people, you and I weren't. We didn't like the matchup, but a lot of people were, looking forward to the Hawks. The Cavs, we know how good they are.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure the Knicks know how good they are. They're not going to underestimate you guys.
Right. Right. Now, Parrish Duggar is saying he's saying we didn't sweep them though. I think we did sweep Atlanta that year, right? I'm pretty.
Unless he's talking about the Cavs, maybe we
Oh,
didn't
maybe he's
sweep.
talking about the Cavs.
We
Right.
haven't swept them. So
Right. Right.
yeah,
We
because
didn't.
that's what I was thinking when I read the comment. Like we didn't even sweep y'all. Like
Right. But we definitely swept the Hawks that year. But no, we didn't sweep the Cavs. But they're probably looking at it. Oh, they won the first game against us. They haven't won since.
mm,
You know what I mean? So I mean, it's almost like a sweep.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, gentlemen sweep.
because that first game was early in the season, early like October or something like that.
Was that the first? That was one of the first week of the season.
Yeah, like first week of the season.
Was that our first home game?
I don't know, might have been, not sure, but it was super early in the season when the Knicks played the Cavs the first time. You know what I mean? And then now the Knicks have won 3 straight. So in their eyes, they may be looking at it like they got swept, feeling like they got swept. You know what I mean? Since it was so early in the season that, since the first time they played.
Don, he says, Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell got to stop hogging the ball. Man, Mobley not enough touches. Um,
I mean, when you got well, first of all, when you got Donovan Mitchell doing what he was doing, right? He was
yeah,
crazy hot. What are you gonna say? Darius Garland. I mean, Darius Garland, he actually had a really good game too, at least in the first half. I don't remember what he ended up with. Well, he was 8 for 19, and only ended up with 20 points. I think he had 18 in the first half, though, Darius Garland. They said Evan Mobley's not Mobley only shot the ball 8 times tonight.
yeah, he was doing a lot of cardio. A lot of cardio for that man.
Him and Mitch probably had a conversation after the game, like, "Yo, what kind of cardio you on tonight?" You know what I mean?
Rich, like now I got my touches tonight.
Yeah. They did, they mentioned it a little bit in the telecast just about, Mitchell Robinson, and him mentioning, uh, talking about that a little bit. And he, what they did say is, look, he figured out, okay, let me go ahead and just play my role and do the things that I have to do. You know what I'm saying? And when he did that, start having success again. You know what I mean? Um, I think that's what you got to do when you got guards like that. You just got to play your role. That's what Mitchell Robinson has to do. Just play your role, play your game, and when you do that, you know what I mean. You're gonna have success in your role, and then you figure out the rest later. And I know Mitch doesn't want to be pigeonholed into just being a big man, a rim runner, and stuff
Hmm.
like that. You know what I mean? And he wants to expand beyond that. But
And hopefully, you know what I mean. They let him know like we gonna give you another regimen for the summer. Come back, work on those things. You know what I mean. We'll implement them moving forward.
right.
You know what I mean. But we can't be trying new tricks right now. Right now,
Now,
you know what I mean.
man, we're not
Dominate,
yeah.
yeah, dominate what you great at. You know what I
Mhm.
mean. We'll work on something. We got you. We locked you down. You know what I mean. We gave you, paid you for a couple years. Work with us.
But what they can do is because I don't even know if Mitchell Robinson is asking for like touches in the post. I don't even know if he's asking for that. You know what I mean? I think he's probably asking for, hey, find a way to catch me a couple of lobs here and there. You know what I mean? Catch me on some lobs. Uh, uh, you know, run a couple of those plays so I can catch a backdoor lob, things like that. And he doesn't get those things uh, for him. Everything is, he's just kind of roaming around in a dunker spot. And if they can find him, then they find him. But there's not anything that's just dedicated towards Mitch. So I can get it. I dig it. I dig it. But Cavs fans upset about Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland having the ball a lot in their hands. Imagine if the Knicks would have got Donovan Mitchell. The ball would have been in the hands of Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell a lot
Mhm.
and
And
Julius
Randall.
Randle,
Yep.
right? And people would have been upset about that too. Like, oh, come on, somebody else get the ball. I mean, they're already upset about Randall, having the ball a lot. Some people, not everybody. People have calmed down. As a matter of fact, it was nice to hear the crowd in the previous versus Miami when Randall sprained his ankle, cheer him on. You know what I'm saying? Give him um, you know,
Standing ovation.
yeah, give him an ovation, chant MVP when he was really trying to work that ankle out. It was nice. The relationship has definitely switched and flipped.
Yeah. And I ain't like I mean maybe it was just me, but Bam, kind of giving Hero a little high five or low five, if you know what I mean, in the midst of that. Maybe it was just,
Yeah.
what I mean, maybe it had nothing to do with Randall, but I ain't like that.
Yeah. Okay. I know I seen Bam, put his hand down to like, just kind of clap hands with him and say, my bad, da 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 da. So hopefully it wasn't that kind of thing, like, hey, good job. Because Randall actually came down on his foot when you look at it.
Yeah, I peeped that,
Yeah.
but I mean, I honestly I was looking at it more of the fact that because I mean, even some people in their chat was like Randall pushed off on that play and was kind of like
Who in
good.
Miami's chat? In Miami's
Yeah,
chat.
yeah. I still got the files. Don't worry. Still got the files.
Yeah, yeah. Right.
Serious. Mobley is working all night and 5'7". I don't know if that's their numbers. Um, he's like love Donovan Mitchell, but have to get Mobley and Biggs involved. This ain't Utah anymore. Same sentiment pretty much as the
Yeah.
last guy.
You know what I mean?
Um,
And maybe that's something that has been going on, that the fans have been feeling all season long. So now we know when we get in the playoffs, Knicks
mhm.
fans, see, this is why we're doing this stuff, right? So when we get in the playoffs and you travel to Cleveland to watch the Knicks play, you can get in the play, you can yell some stuff out. You're in the first row, whatever. You can yell some stuff out like, hey, Mobley, ain't you mad you're not getting the ball from Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland? You know what I'm saying? Like they just gonna hog the ball all night. They're not, their skin. We can use this stuff against them.
That's right. Get in their head.
Get in their head. We can use this stuff against them. You know what I mean? That's why we doing this.
So Rob, he says, I honestly feel like we beat the Knicks in a series. They tried to show they better. NATO should have played more to slow Brunson down. I'm assuming slow Brunson down. Uh, I mean, he's still confident in his team. I
Yeah.
don't know if NATO was gonna do anything against Brunson. I thought they probably should try to double him a little bit more.
Right. Right. You figure that they would try to throw some traps at him and half court traps, get the ball out of his hands. Um, a lot of time, listen, with the Cavs fans, I feel like, honestly, I feel we beat the Knicks in a series. I think they're trying to convince themselves a little bit too.
NATO must be their McBride.
Yeah, I guess so. Right. You know what I'm saying? Raul Nato. I mean, NATO, he played 9 minutes and 41 seconds. He's 6'2", 180-pound guard. You know what I mean? He wasn't doing anything on Jalen Brunson. So, whatever they want to say, he wasn't doing anything on Jalen Brunson. Ramel, I agree with the sentiment, bro. I agree with the sentiment. You know what I'm saying? What was he doing? He wasn't doing nothing. And if there's any Cavs fans in here, please speak up. NATO wasn't doing nothing against Brunson.
Almighty says NATO is terrible on defense, so he
Come on,
must
bro.
know who he is.
Come on. You know what I'm saying? What are they talking about right now?
Low refs called some weak touch fouls against us. I mean, you seen more than me, Sim. I was listening more than anything. So
I mean, I thought actually it was the game was going so fast. Um, it was up and down. It was an up and down game. The I don't know. I thought it was okay, ref okay. You know what I'm saying? There were some calls, I guess, probably on both sides that, didn't go, that the Knicks didn't get, that Cleveland didn't get. You know what I mean? I didn't think there was anything crazy about the way that it was ref. That's just people getting grouchy because in the first half, they probably felt like, when they scored 47 points or whatever it was in the first quarter, the Knicks still scored 42, but 47 in the first quarter, they probably felt like, oh, yeah, we about to blow these guys out. We about to
mhm.
show them that they can't beat us because they think they can beat us, blah, 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 blah. And then in the second quarter, our bench guys really kind of, they scrapped down defensively at least a little bit in the second quarter. You know what I mean? And then things cooled off in the second half, and the third quarter cooled off a little bit. And then in the fourth quarter, the Knicks just kind of took over the game. Um, so I don't know if there was, I disagree with him. I disagree with him. He's just mad, salty, salty. You know what I'm saying? Real salty.
You gotta tell yourself something to sleep better at night.
Sleep better, right? You gotta say something. Trust me, us Knicks fans, we do it all the time, right?
But we used to, we used to.
Even now, when we take a loss,
Nah, I know.
hot.
I just meant the all the time part.
Yeah. But we be hot right now. Oh, the refs ain't calling this, the refs ain't calling that. A lot of times it be true. You know what I'm saying? Because it's still a lot of people, and maybe even including myself, who feels like the refs in the NBA, just got stuff out for the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? And don't like the Knicks, but here we go. Robbie.
Knicks fans trolling big time, lol, and deservingly so. The Cavs took their opponent for granted and lost, embarrassing. You think they took us for granted?
No,
You
I
think
don't.
you think they was saying, "Oh, they don't got Randall. There's no chance."
Nope. You know why? Because Donovan Mitchell seen uh Jalen Brunson bust his ass in the playoffs last year without Luca there. You know what I'm saying? So he knew, he knew like, nah, they got guys that can hoop. He had to have known because he seen Jalen Brunson do it. He witnessed it. He did it against him. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think they took the Knicks lightly at all. And if they did, then that's
Shame on them.
exactly. You know what I'm saying? That's a downfall on their team. You know what I mean? That means that there's something with them that you could say, oh man, maybe that's something, they're not as strong mentally. I don't
Yeah.
want to say mentally, but you know what I mean? They have that part of the game that can hurt them.
Oh, Almighty Finesse said, Mitchell was locked in. I agree. Like he looked like he was gonna have one of them nights tonight. He
Yeah,
had a great night, but he looked like he was trying to go for one of them historic nights tonight.
yeah, it did. It looked like he was trying to kill the Knicks tonight. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie, I was getting frustrated early in the game. Just, uh, you know, I'm not the type of person that likes that much scoring.
Too much space, right? Too much open shots
Yeah,
back and forth.
just like so much scoring. I like the game to be slowed down a little bit more than that.
The
You know what I mean? I
but
feel
you
like, you know, I just personally feel like I always feel like, my team ain't gonna score with them. But this Knicks team has proven that they can score with guys in those type of games. They haven't always pulled it out, but they have proven that they can score in those type of games.
I think it's honestly it's really just the new league because even last year's playoffs, if you go back and look at some of the scores in the playoffs, where it's supposed to slow down and buckle up, and we were still getting crazy high scores, 120 something, 117, like 125, 128. Like so I think for some reason, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just you know what it is? It's we talked about it before. It's the threes, the long rebounds, those them quick possessions for more possessions in the game. Is all that is adding up to more points, I think, as opposed to just less defense. I think the defense is still there, but you're defending threes as opposed to people backing it down, getting in the paint, which takes more time off the shot clock. So
Right.
now 17 um 17 shot possession instead of 24. Not you know what I mean? So it's
Right.
just more attempts. This
Yeah.
is a new one.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, Rick. Yeah, I'm gonna need a series between the Cavs and Knicks. Definitely will be must see playoff basketball. I'm with you, Rick, 100%. Like I I I, I mean I don't care who we play, but this is the matchup I kind of want now.
This
You
is
know what I
what you
mean? I want to
want.
see those two guys go at it again.
Right.
Obviously, um, Mitchell got a chip on his shoulder based off the previous playoff performance against Brunson. So I know he'll be at his best trying to one up Brunson. Brunson, I mean, he don't seem like he backed down from any type of challenge. He said it when he got here. You think, I'm not here to be the savior, but I'm not running away from nothing. You know what I mean? So
What would
just that matchup is must
Yeah.
see.
I mean, what are you expecting? I mean, obviously, we think it's gonna be a good matchup. It's a 4-5 matchup, so it's gonna be a good matchup, right? How much different do you think this matchup is gonna be played compared to what we seen tonight, though? Because I don't think it's gonna be this kind of a scoring matchup when you get in the playoffs. They're gonna have Jared Allen back. That's gonna stop a lot
Penetration,
of the
yeah.
scoring in the paint. I think the Knicks scored 54 points in the paint tonight. That's gonna stop a lot of the scoring in the paint. You know what I mean? And now that changes the way you play the game a little bit. Um, guys don't have to help out as much, which leaves, backdoor cuts open and things like that. I think you seen with the Knicks, the fact that they had like Mitch inside
Mhm.
and then Hartenstein is giving what he can give inside. I think the fact that the Knicks had those two guys helped to help the Knicks defensively toward, down the stretch of this basketball game. But when you're talking about in the playoffs. Now they got a Jared Allen back. Hopefully, the Knicks are going to get Julius Randle back. And with Julius Randle's style of play, it's going to slow the game down some. We've seen Julius Randle and the Knicks play in high scoring games, but now we're talking about the playoffs. I think it's going to be a
Oh,
different
oh,
type of game than you've seen tonight.
I mean, I don't know for the simple fact that even with Allen coming back, if anything, that's probably gonna push us into more 3-point shots than attacking the paint. So that may lead to high scoring.
It could,
Um,
but as we've seen, that could lead to the Knicks down.
Yeah, at 100%, 100%. But
Yeah.
it's kind of like that throughout the league. You know what I mean? Like it's make or miss. If
Um,
guys are hitting their threes,
how do you compare, assuming that this is the matchup, right? Um, The Cleveland Cavaliers, they've already locked down a playoffs spot,
hmm
and, I mean, they kinda at this point right now, the Cavs, are pretty much I don't know. I don't think Philadelphia is gonna dip at all. They're 3.5 games behind Philly for the 3rd spot, right? They only
Mhm.
have 4 games left, so they would need Philly to drop all the way off, and they would have to win the remainder of their games in order to have a chance at that 3rd spot. So right now, it almost feels like the Cavs are locked in at the 4th spot, right? Even though there's a chance, they're kinda locked in. It's almost the same way with the Knicks, although the Knicks still have Brooklyn breathing down their neck. Brooklyn won tonight. The Knicks are 2.5 games above Brooklyn. The Knicks are 45 and 33, 12 games above 500. They're 3 games below Cleveland. So both teams Cleveland is way more closer to being locked into that 4th spot than the Knicks in that 5th spot, right?
Mhm.
But how would you compare? But it looks like they're on a collision course. How would you compare the coaching of these two teams?
Mhm.
Who do you think?
I mean,
Because
I
playoffs
give
are gonna come down to coaching more than the regular season, in my
that's
opinion.
a good point. Um, who who's their coach?
What's his name? Bernie Big, not
Br-
JB Bickerstaff.
JB
I
JB
was about
JB
to say Bernie
Bickerstaff, right?
Bickerstaff, JB Bickerstaff.
Um, I'm going to Edge New York. I'm going to Edge New York. I'm going to Edge New York. I'm going with Tibbs because Tibbs has already, you know what I mean, whether people acknowledge it or not, has adjusted to the modern NBA, right? With the high 3 point attempts.
Mhm.
Um, I think we got a secret weapon in Johnny Bryant. He may be able to point out or help um pinpoint some weaknesses. You know what I mean? My
Okay.
only my only concern, I guess, would be a in-game adjustment
Mhm.
more than like a next game adjustment. I'm not worried about Tibbs adjusting from game to game, but maybe a in-game adjustment. Whether it's I mean, he may go small, you know what I mean, depending on what's going on with Randall at times. Anyway, we've been seeing that um to end the last game and throughout the game today. But I guess that's my only worry with Tibbs. In-game adjustments more so than um game to game.
Right. Yeah, definitely, definitely. In-game adjustments more so than game to game. The good thing is this is where the game to game adjustments like really come into play. Like we talked about before during the regular season, those game to game adjustments aren't going to come into play as much. You know what I mean? Because you know it's going to be weeks before you play that team again most of the time. In the playoffs, though, you're seeing that team boom every other day. Every other day, you're seeing the same team. So now those game to game adjustments really do come into play. Um, I think I might go with Tibbs because of his experience. I think though Bickerstaff has proven to be a good coach. Um,
And his dad was a coach too, right?
yep, yep, yep. So I
So
think,
he
but
got that lineage that you know what I
yeah,
mean, he got that experience that doesn't come from like in game, like actually being the coach, but watching his dad. I'm sure he's been on the staff before as well. So you know what I mean? So he has integrated experience, if you
right,
will.
right, right. So I think that I do, but I still do think that Tom Thibodeau probably has the upper hand in coaching, just the experience. He's been part of at least one championship team with Boston. I think was he with the Knicks when they went to the finals as an assistant for Jeff Van Gundy? I think so. I think so.
Yes.
So he at least has some of that experience. He's been deep in the playoffs with Chicago. I don't know all of the background of Bickerstaff. I would give it to the Knicks though. In the end.
And I think even the experience with the Knicks in the playoffs, with it not being successful. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
like now he could tinker with some things. I'm pretty sure. I know the chat hates this, but I'm pretty sure he second guesses that pulling Peyton out that lineup, out the starting lineup. You know what I mean? Which he doesn't usually make those kind of adjustments,
Right.
um, or change. I won't even say adjustments, but changes. So he's like, I should have listened to my gut, what I always do. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right. And Bickerstaff, let me see. Yeah, he coached in Houston 2015 and 16 as the head coach, 37 and 34. Now he was the assistant coach for Charlotte, Minnesota, and Houston. All right, and they had some good teams in Houston back when he was, that's when James Harden was on the team. Took over as head coach in 2015 and 16. He was 37 and 34. In Memphis, he was 15 and 48. Coached 63 games. Well, coached 2 seasons there. Um, he was an associate head coach with Memphis for a few years. Then he coached 2 seasons there with Cleveland. He had losing records up until last season, right? So, Tom Thibodeau has a much more esteemed coaching background, and that experience could come in this series. You know what I mean? Could come in this series. What's we got?
uh, serious.
Serious, yeah.
This was the Knicks game 7, I guess. LOL. What the f? And I think that was mainly because the Knicks was all throughout the community,
Oh, yeah.
celebrating memes, and all that. You
I
know,
guess what people don't get is that that's just how Knicks fans are, man. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter. We get a when we was in DC and the last time we was in DC and we beat the Wizards, we beat the Wizards. And we was walking down the street with a Knicks flag, and we had Knicks fans. I mean, 50% of the fans in the crowd was Knicks fans, and we were walking down outside of the arena with the Knicks flag, and there was more Knicks fans out there than Wizards fans, and they was celebrating with us, and we was yelling, hollering, and yelling, and all of that. That's just how Knicks fans are. Get used to it. That might be part of the reason why you know teams and people don't like us around the league, but oh well. That's all I can say is, oh well. What else you going? What are we gonna do? You know,
did you get footage of that?
I got some footage of it.
All right, I'm gonna
I
remind me when we get off.
footage of it, and I got some footage of it, and there was somebody else who was just like across the street, and they got some footage of it too. Yeah,
Nice, nice.
it was a dope moment for Knicks fans. And then I seen the other day that the Knicks Twitter, there was like, Knicks fans, where you from? You know what I mean? And had people put in, what city, they're from, where they repping the Knicks from. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Um, but anyway, yeah, we celebrate. Just imagine what it's gonna be like, Sirius, if we beat y'all in the playoffs.
In 6. Then
Imagine
what?
what it's gonna be like. You know what I mean? I so
Mm.
wish that there was some Cavs fans in here. You know what I mean? I know there's some listening. There's gotta be a couple of Cavs fans listening because they seen it come across their screen like, "What? What's it?" I know that they're listening. Please say something. Please
don't
say
wa- don't wait till the playoffs.
right.
Speak
No.
your piece now, so we can see if you have the same energy later.
Right. This is a spot where you can jump in, you know what I mean, and say something. So please say something. They're not. They're scared because they know it's a lot of Knicks fans in here, but you know, um, we'll see. What is
Uh,
this? Just oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, David out. He said we got fans in space.
Yeah.
Knicks
Everywhere.
fans is everywhere.
Everywhere. Is Martians rocking, they probably got old jerseys up there, they got old, like they still rocking the Frank Ntilikina jersey or something. Because I still got one. I never worn it, it's just sitting in my closet. I mean, silk something. I wanna put something up. I want to see what he's saying. It just caught my eye. So they're saying, did you hear the New York Knicks assigned Carmelo Anthony to a 10-day contract? Anthony is expected to finish the season with the Knicks and then retired. Daquan Jeffries has been waived. I didn't hear that. Did you hear that?
Don't play with me. Why y'all playing? Y'all playing. My phone
I
would have
didn't.
went off.
Man, that's what I'm saying. People would have been hitting me up. I didn't see that or hear that anywhere.
Wait,
But
who said it though? Who said it? So we could silk something. We gonna remember this.
we're gonna remember this, right? We got this star. We'll bring it back. You know what I mean? I think he's just trying to get us excited. You know, he's trying to get us excited.
Yeah, they laughing. Comega laughing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
LB
You
said
know.
that's cap. I'm
Oh,
not buying
April.
it.
Yeah, it's
April
April, bro.
Fools. All right, all
I
right.
forgot all about all
You
this.
got me.
Get out of here. Oh, yeah, yeah. I forgot all about that. See that? You know what I'm saying?
We might have to clip that right there. Yeah.
Right.
Put that out.
You know what I'm saying?
Put that out early.
I feel him though.
Nice
I
one,
feel
bro.
him.
Nice one.
Yeah, that was a good one. Anyway, let's go on. Let's get to the next one.
Casual. Y'all called me a madman for wanting another big at the deadline. We one Allen injury away from being gentlemen swept.
Mm,
That's
mm. And Jared Allen's never been. He's always been injury prone, right?
um I don't know. I thought he was pretty durable other than his first year. I don't know though. Or
Um,
maybe it was more than his first year. Cause he's older than I thought, I think. Right? He's like late 20s, right?
Jared Allen.
Yeah. Or he's
I'm
still
not
like
sure.
24.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how old he is. But let me see.
Mm.
He's over the past few years, man. In 2021, he played 63 games in 2021, played 56 games last year, and he's played 65 games this season.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel them though. If they don't have an adequate replacement who kind of duplicates his skill set,
Right.
you know what I mean? They you know what I mean? Like, here's what I'll say. You know, I ain't trying to give y'all no good luck or words of encouragement or anything, but we made it by without Mitch. We figured out a way. You know what I mean? I don't know who's on that roster, and if they have like guys who could supplement, but I kind of I feel his pain. I felt that way when we lost Mitch,
Right.
but you know what I mean. We had a Noel at the time
Yeah.
to kind of fill in and hold ground.
And at this point, you
Speaking
can't
of Noel,
you can't
my
pick up
bad.
anybody anyway, and that's why they need Nerlens Noel. And well, Nerlens Noel ain't staying healthy either. So he's playing with somebody though, right? Right
I
now.
thought he got picked up and then waived, so I think he
Oh,
might be a free agent again still.
okay. Okay.
And somebody said he's 24, Jared Allen. So
Good
I
Allen.
mean, he's got time to kind of, you know what I mean. Look at Embiid. Look at Man, I thought he was older than that.
Yeah. Um, and we should have known about the Carmelo Anthony thing because, he wouldn't have been able to play in the playoffs because that deadline is passed.
Mm, that's true. That's true.
You know what I mean? That deadline is passed. But I can understand what they're saying. If you have a guy that's since he's been with the Cavs, he's been hurt all the time. You know what I mean? So if you got a guy that's frequently hurt, yeah, you want to have some kind of insurance. They traded away Kevin Love, so they don't have any insurance there. Um, yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean? And right now, if the only big they really have without Jared Allen is Evan Mobley.
Yeah, and then they playing with two small guards. You know what I mean? It becomes tricky. But rather y'all than us. You know, we got our own we got our own injuries and things that we gotta deal with and overcome. So
Yeah, you know what I mean? So far the Knicks have been able to overcome the injuries that they've had this year. You know, I mean, as a matter of fact, the Knicks big three, if you want to call it, RJ, Randall, and Brunson have all been out, for a number of games this season. Well, this is Randall's first game, but Brunson's been out for a few games, and you had to rock with Randall and RJ, and RJ was out for some games, and you had to rock with Brunson and Randall. I don't even know if you can throw RJ in there anymore. We just had that discussion about quickly now being the third best player on the Knicks and all of that. You know,
let's just call it a big four.
big, big 15, like Randall said a couple years ago. The big
that's
15.
that's right.
You know what I mean? The big 15 the Knicks got. Let's see. This last one right here.
It's the closer. Oh, Easy E, I'm gonna call him. Fat Boy Brunson playing over his head. Cavs in 5. See?
See, that's cold blooded. See, that's the stuff right there. That's the reason why Knicks fans go to your city and celebrate, or go to your chat, celebrate. Because, I mean, why has he got to be Fat Boy Brunson?
And 5? 5? Like at least the first dude says 6.
Yeah, come on. But my thing is like, why they got to call him Fat Boy Brunson? You know what I'm saying?
Sad. Fat Boy was cooking.
Yeah.
Cooking.
How about the Brunson burner was burning y'all up tonight? You know what I mean? Drake, 2K18 said, "What happened and who's Mark?" Yeah, who's Mark would be perfect to come in and join us in the losers lounge.
That's a fact.
You
Yeah,
know?
I call him Where's Mark now. So
Yeah, but that's cold, man. Fat Boy Brunson playing over his head. First of all, no reason to diss him. I call him Fat Boy Brunson. But secondly, he's not really playing over his head. Brunson been doing this all year long. They just don't know that. But he's been doing not 48 points a game, but he's been playing all-star level, all NBA level basketball all season long. You know what I
I'm
mean?
I'm just gonna say easy. Talk to your boy Donovan and ask him about Brunson.
Word.
Just ask him about Brunson.
Ask him about Brunson.
See what he say.
You know what I'm saying? You can't get mad because Brunson chewed him up. David L said Brunson is built, not fat. Just big bone. Come on, man.
Uh,
Nigga said name calling
I
equates
was,
fear and frustration. Word up.
I was just about to put that one up too.
Word up. Nick Yak, a career 49% shooter for a guard. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? So, people, they're saying all of this, but they don't know. For real.
They mad. They mad.
You don't know. They don't know. You know what we should do? You know what
What,
else we could do?
what's that?
Right? We could do like a fake Cleveland Cavaliers post game show, right? Cavaliers
Mm.
fans coming in, but it's really Knicks fans in here, and we start, you know, teasing the Cavs.
T- Yeah, yeah. We might have to do that.
And then you get a bunch of Cavs fans in there, and they be, what I mean, they be hot, like, yo, what they doing in here? Why they doing that? That'd be a funny one.
That would be.
That'd be a
That
funny,
would be. We,
you know.
we might have to just put that in the titles. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Get them over here.
right. Exactly, exactly, exactly.
But,
Um, anything about any of these that just stand out to you? Just the comments.
um, well, they're definitely for the most part. I think they're confident. You know what I mean? They're confident in their team. They think it's just a regular season. We pointed out that us with the Hawks. We got uh Cavs in 5 prediction, Cavs in 6 prediction. So
Mhm.
they definitely don't. This was our game 7, so they don't expect us to go the distance with them. They expect
Right.
to advance relatively easy, I guess. You know, um, so they may be in for the same kind of surprise that we were 2 years ago.
But what's their basis on that? By them expecting that they're just gonna, you know, I mean, obviously they support their team, right? They support their team. So they they expect that they're gonna win some games. But when you look at it and you say, all right, they beat us 3-1 this season. You know what I mean? What are they looking at for them to be so confident they're gonna beat us in 5 or beat us in 6? Just because they have a they're ahead of us in the standings? Like,
No, I think for the most part, it's the same reason some people don't. They have Donovan Mitchell. I think that's why.
so they feel like they got the better player.
Yes, and I think that's what it boils down to. There's I mean, there's a stigma out there like the team with the best guys should win. You know what
Right.
I mean? But that's not always the case because sometimes the team with the best team should win.
Right.
you,
Exactly.
you feel me?
And
So
to be honest, the Knicks have proven that they have more depth.
big bench.
You know what I'm saying? Right? They've proven that they have more depth, um,
Mm.
and more impact players coming off the bench. As a matter of fact, the Knicks bench has now. It's funny because at the beginning of the season, we thought the Knicks was going to have a big bench, and then it felt like the Knicks bench was nowhere to be found. During the time when guys were injured, right? Felt like their bench was, just not playing well, blah, blah, blah. Right now, when you look at it, it's like, yeah, you got Emmanuel quickly coming off the bench. You got Josh Hart coming off the bench and giving you tons of production. Hartenstein is doing what he's doing. We've had Deuce give you some strong minutes off the bench. Obviously, he can play defense, and sometimes Obi can give you something off the bench. The Knicks have proven they got one of the deepest teams in the league and one of the best benches in the league. You know what I mean? Um, and I think that goes a long way because a lot of times we see now, even if a team's starting lineup is even with ours, our bench can, uh, extend the lead or build out the lead. You know what I mean? But obviously that's fans who do, they don't really pay attention to everybody else. You know what I mean? Omega said, let them go in with overinflated expectations. We'll use that to our advantage.
hmm
No,
hmm
no doubt about that. Um, I know, as soon as we find out what the playoff matchups are, when it's all said and done, I'm gonna be looking to I wanna, put something together.
Yeah, we
Watch
gotta figure
party,
that out.
whatever it is, because I ain't gonna front. It's gonna be a lot of people that it's gonna be a lot of people that can't afford to go to a playoff game. You know what I mean? So we put together some watch parties. We can use um the place we normally use,
Legends.
Legends. We go to Legends NYC and do some Knicks watch parties and whatnot. Think that'd be pretty dope. You know what I mean? Think that'd be pretty dope. Now I had
agree.
to check this. I had to check this before I didn't know if it was gonna be a April Fool's Day joke or what. But
I peeped it too.
it's true. Cam got a DNP tonight,
Mm,
and Kevin Knox played 27 minutes.
mm,
Yeah.
mm.
Your thoughts on that? What your thoughts on that, Tone?
Hey, I'm over the cam hype, the cam hive. You know what I mean? Once he's no longer on the team,
Yeah.
and I ain't gonna front. Josh Hart made it so easy. You know what I mean?
True.
Like
Very true.
nothing outstanding, nothing. You know what I mean? Nothing that's league leading except for heart and
Right.
effort. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy, because he went there, automatically became a starter. Now, he got a DNP.
Now, I'll say this: maybe they know what they got in him, and they satisfied, and they want to see what they got in Knox. You know,
Maybe,
you know,
maybe
Dame shut it down, like, so maybe it's part of that. All right, let's see what we got in the guys we're not sure about.
that could be. I mean, let me see. He still played. Who played? Shaden Sharp played. Those guys like that played. I'm assuming Damian Lillard was out. I mean, it could be something like that. I mean, they lost 138 to 114 to Sacramento. Could be something like that. Who knows? Uh, Here we go. Can't wait until we ship RJ off for a more productive player, just like we did Reddish. Ah, man.
If it happens and it's some more productive player, it is what it is. But to can't wait, like, I mean, they can't do nothing now, so we need
Yeah,
RJ to perform.
right. Exactly. Need RJ to perform. You know what I'm saying? I mean, my thing is, the Knicks are winning. He's part of this team. You know, if RJ gets better, the Knicks get better. And RJ is, I don't know. Hopefully, one day he's gonna grow and get better. You know what I mean, yeah, he's not terrible, but maybe he'll grow and get better. Remember, Julius Randle is now an All NBA caliber guy, and he didn't do when he was 22. So, you know what I mean? We didn't do it. He didn't do it when we was 22.
Isaiah in the chat.
Yeah, Isaiah says, "Saying we do it every year. We pick a player. I know you did it last year. You picked Randle. You know what I'm saying?" Um, the coolest 718 said Tibbs is gunning for Levine again this summer. Watch. There was a point in time when I was big on Levine. I'm not as big on Levine now because of the contract. You know what I mean? Like he's got a huge contract.
So does Cat.
So does Cat. You know what I'm saying? So does Cat. And if I'm paying that money, I want the Knicks to be paying that money towards like,
Stamped,
yeah, stamp,
solidified,
solidified,
no question.
super duper star. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't want a guy that you're still wondering, are they or are they not? You know, Almighty Finesse said, I'm telling y'all, Ingram is going to be available in the offseason. I would love Ingram. I would love Brandon Ingram on his team. I think he fits perfectly with what he can do. I think he fits perfectly.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
The Public Enemy, number one, said Embiid or SGA. That's it. Uh, if things don't work out in Philly, first of all, I think you could see where SGA would want out of OKC at some point. And if things don't work out in Philly, you could imagine that Joel Embiid might want up out of there too.
CAA too.
Hmm. You know how that goes down. You know what I mean? And then, listen,
It's part of the family.
you get Joel Embiid. I mean, you're looking and saying that the Knicks are contenders. They're going to be considered contenders at that point. You know what I mean? Because he's clearly a MVP caliber player, right? And then you'll have another All Star player in Julius Randle, who I consider an All Star player in Jalen Brunson. I don't know how much Joel Embiid gets paid, but that would be
Yeah, I
big.
mean, I don't mind his money. Granted, there's a big injury concern, but he's surefire. You know what I mean? Surefire when he's
Right.
on the court, when he's healthy. It's not too many guys that could deal with him.
Yeah,
if any.
yeah, yeah. Parrish said y'all didn't discuss Obi going at RJ for not passing on. Here I'll put it up here. Uh, y'all didn't discuss Obi going at RJ for not passing on that 2-on-1 break. We did. We discussed it in the post game show. You know what I mean? But
We
to me,
glad it got shown. That's basically the conclusion we came to. We glad it got shown so people could see it's not just Randall. It's not just I mean, it happens all the time. It's not a big deal.
right? You know, it's not. It happens. It happens. It's gonna happen. You know, they shook it out. You know what I mean? Talked it out, shook hands, whatever, and can move on from it. You know what I mean? And hopefully it's just, you want the team to have fire. You know what I mean? Right now, they're having fire they're having some fire and they're taking that fire out and shooting it at the wrong people sometimes. You know, we want them to have that fire and shoot it at the right people, the opposing team. You know what I mean? That's what we're trying to do. Nick Yak said, "Did RJ make it?" And Obi can't say anything with .8 assist.
RJ didn't make it. I think it was a turnover, right?
Oh, it might have been. I have to go back and look. It might have been a turnover. I don't remember exactly. Yeah, I don't remember. But he missed him on the oop. Yeah, he missed him on the oop. The coolest 718 said Jalen Brown would be great, but he wants a max deal. Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, he's number 3 on my list, and he's probably the safest. You know what I mean? Like it's not there's no injury concern.
mhm,
Um, two-way, obviously two-way ability. I think his offense is still getting better. He's still young enough to still be getting better. Um, my only concern, I guess, would be is he the top guy? And if he's not, is he okay with it? You know what I mean? Like if he is the top guy and that's what it is, I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
mhm,
But it's just a question mark. Is he the top guy? And then and then obviously if he's not, is he okay with it? Because I think more of his issues with Boston is not only is he not equal with Tatum, but he's also the guy that you know what I mean. Like in the trade talks, it feels like they don't even treat him as he's close. You know
right.
what I mean? So, and I've always said I feel like he's gonna be better than Tatum when it's all said
Mm,
and done.
mm. I mean, he brings the defense. He obviously brings scoring. He would fit in, with how this team plays. Let's put it like that. He would fit in with how this team plays and what Tom Thibodeau would expect from him. Yeah, he would. He'd be a very nice addition to this team. He might even be looking like I fit in nice over there. And see,
Hmm.
coming to a new team, this is always where the difference is, right? I'm on this team. I was drafted by this team. I'm part of this team. So I grew up here and I feel some ownership. When you go to a new team, you might not be coming in like, yeah, I expect I'm gonna be the guy. It's like, nah, there's already been some people here. I'm trying to fit into what's going on. You go in with a different mindset. You know what I mean? It's
That's a
not,
good point.
it's like when Ewing was here and he was fading out and they were going to other people. He still wanted to be the guy though. Like this was his team, 15 years strong. He was doing his thing. And this was his team. But when he couldn't really do it like that no more, it was a struggle for him. But then he goes to other team and he's happy to take a different role on that team. You know what I mean? So it could be something like that.
Facts.
You know what I mean? It could be something like that. So um,
And,
yeah.
all right,
Cooking with
I gotta get out of here though.
I'm gonna get out of here too. He said cooking with chef say you max out for Jalen Brown. We get Jalen, we can win a title within 3 years. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I have no concern with the money. honestly.
Yeah,
My only concern is if he wants to be the surefire guy, and if I mean, because again, I think he can be the number one guy on a contending team.
yeah,
Um,
no doubt.
but is he okay with not being that?
But not being that, right?
So but again, yeah, like you said, he fits in seamlessly, fits in with Tibbs, high basketball IQ, high IQ outside of basketball. He could do things, I guess, community wise that might be a little bit more difficult in Boston.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, no doubt. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you for joining the Losers Lounge. Stay with us as this show grows. You know what I'm saying? And every time the Knicks win, tonight I forgot to close out the post game show. You know what I mean? To send everybody over here.
mm,
Next time I won't forget to do that. So we send everybody over here. But make sure you join us on the show where we take a look at what other fans are thinking. You know what I'm saying? And maybe we'll even get a chance to get some of those other fans on the show. Right?
yeah, we'll get call lines and all that. You know what I mean? Down the road. So
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. I mean, we got the call line, so we can open that up. We can open that up. But
appreciate y'all.
yeah, no doubt. Let's get up out of here. Peace.